They failed us, guys. Our heroes have fallen. They failed us. They failed us miserably. I responded to a video that Alan Parr did with Tony Evans a few months ago. And I got an interesting response to my comment. This response to my comment was literally an LOL. And that just happened recently after Tony Evans came out, quote unquote, I have committed a sin, unnamed. I'm going to sit down and no longer lead. And this LOL that I received came off of a comment that I left on Mr. Alan Parr's channel. And I quote myself that Mr. Tony Evans is a gift. Now, I don't refute that, nor do I no longer believe that. But what I do know now, more than ever, is that heroes rise and heroes fall. And it's not that there's anything wrong with a Pastor Tony Evans or some of these ministers. Not all, but some. It's the fact that there's something wrong with us. We are the problem. We look for celebrity pastors and preachers to idolize and glorify. We look for kings, like the people of God were looking for a king. So they ask God, they squeeze God, they say, God, give us a king. We want a king. We desire a king. And God finally says, okay, I'm going to give you a king. I'm going to give you King Saul. And he just did not fit the bill. He just did not fulfill what they were actually looking for. He did not, nor could not, fill the shoes that only God could fill. You may have a local pastor you love dearly. You knew this pastor ever since you were an infant because that pastor christened you, baptized you, the whole 9 yards. Picnics, barbecues, you name it, that pastor is there celebrating with you, doing life with you. 10, 20 years down the road, you find out, scandal. Wasn't the person you thought he was. Then oftentimes what actually happens, unfortunately, guys, is many of us, because our hope is in man, and wasn't in God from the Genesis, we pull back from God. Because we did what the children of Israel did. We put man where God is. We try to force man to fill God's shoes, to fill a shoe that only God could fill. And when that specific leader, individual, quote unquote man of God, cannot fill those shoes, we walk away from God. We're discouraged, we feel betrayed, because the epitome of the Christian life was based upon that specific individual. I know, I'm talking to you. You no longer trust Christ anymore. You abandon the church of God, the people of God, because of that one individual that you thought was the epitome of epitome. Similar to the way that Roman Catholics look at the Pope. This individual could do no wrong, but dang, that individual has done the most wrong that you could ever have imagined. Now you no longer want God. You no longer walk with God. You no longer desire God. Newsflash, you never did desire God. You never did walk with God. Now you have an opportunity to truly receive God and truly see God for who God is. And now see man for who man is. We understand that God will never fail us, though our leaders and our heroes fail us. We understand that God will always be there for us, though our leaders and our heroes, oftentimes, unfortunately, will not and cannot. Why? Because they're men. They're frail. They're imperfect. They need grace. They need to repent. They need Jesus just as much as you and I. So oftentimes, God will expose and reveal certain things and certain flaws in our heroes so we could turn to the true hero, the only hero of the story, Christ and Christ alone. So before you turn off God and Christianity and the truth of Christ, just be reminded that there's only one hero of the story. And the reason why your heroes fall is in order that you may fall into the hands of the true hero, Christ and Christ alone. Don't fall by the wayside. Your heroes fell, but don't be discouraged. Now you have the opportunity to see the true hero, for who he is.